Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video, this lemon cake slice. We build it with like the isometric grid that Procreate helps us use, so I'll show you how to do that. So it turns out really awesome and looks really, really delicious. This is super fun to draw, so I hope that you enjoy it. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I also offer extra tutorials over on Patreon, so that's linked in the description below if you want to check that out. If you join over there, you get access to exclusive tutorials every month, along with sneak peeks of what we're drawing over here on YouTube every week. So I will post some of our recent drawings that we've been doing over there for you to see here. And before we get started on today's drawing, the only thing that you will need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just save the file to your iPad and then double tap it or click on it and click open in Procreate, and it will automatically pop into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the video today. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen here and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with today. Lots of different yellows and our icing colors and our leaf colors. So let's just go ahead and get started. And we're actually going to leave our background white to start so that we can see our cake and stuff a little bit better, and then we'll finish it off in the end. The background isn't too distracting from the cake, but they're similar in their colors when we first start. So we're going to do that at the end, but let's go ahead and make our cake then. So on our layer menu, we're just on layer 1. We're going to turn on our isometric grid drawing. So to do that, we'll go to our gear icon. Under Canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, click Edit Drawing Guide, switch it to isometric down here. You can leave the sizes all the same and whatnot. I might lower the opacity just a little bit so that the lines aren't so thick, and then go ahead and turn on assisted drawing. That's the most important part, and then go ahead and click Done. Then on our layer menu here, this layer should say assisted on it. If it doesn't, just click on it and turn on drawing assist, and that means that our drawing assist grid is active on this layer. We're going to start with our first color on the second row, and the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab at 30% for our size and 100% for our opacity. And we're just going to start and make our cake. And essentially it's going to be like a little square piece of cake. So I'm going to start right in the middle. If you have a hard time finding the middle, that's okay. We can move it around in a second. So it doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but each side needs to be the same number of lines essentially. So I'm going to start like right here, I believe is the middle. A little ways from the bottom is good. I'm going to start right there. I'm going to draw up at this upper right angle, and I'm going to start counting. So each time I hit a new point, I'm going to count. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and maybe I'll just do 8. So I'm maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bottom or so. Okay, we'll do the same thing on the other side. So I'll start at that same point and then go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, so now I'm on that next line, and we can clean this up in a second, but now I'm just going to start on the line and go upwards. Maybe we'll go up 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we'll kind of connect back to the beginning. And I'm just going to do this like lower part. We don't need to go up to the top and make the square because we're going to make our icing there. So I'm just going to go down on this line till I hit that same middle line, right up from our bottom middle line, and then back to the other side as well. And again, they don't have to be perfect. We'll clean them up here in a second. Just make sure they're all connected, and then we can fill that in. Okay, now we're going to make our icing on the top. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add another new layer. Click on it and turn on drawing assist again. And let's grab our lightest icing color, the 5th one on the second row. And you should be able to see it against your background. It might be a little bit difficult, but you should be able to see it. So we're just essentially going to start from this corner, and I'm just going to go up 1, Then I'm going to, so again, I know it's kind of hard to see, but just go up one there. Then I'm going to go to the middle point from there. So to the middle, across from straight up from our middle point. Same thing on the other side. We should be one above it. Go down the one. And then we're going to connect in the middle on both sides, covering up our yellow just a smidge there. And then make sure it's all connected and we can fill it in. So this is what it should look like now, kind of like a little box with a lid. Okay, let's go ahead and go back to our yellow layer and clean it up a little bit. So on my layer menu, I am going to leave Drawing Assist on so that I can get some clean vertical erasers. So we're going to use our eraser tool now also on the monoline brush at 30%. And I am going to just start on the edges and erase some clean vertical lines there so that it looks nice because some of my corners got a little out of whack. So clean up your bottom lines too if you need to. So I wanted to wait till we got our frosting in place before we cleaned anything up. Make sure to do the same for your other layer. So use your eraser if you need to clean up any of those lines, vertical or otherwise. So fix those up if you need to. Okay, now we're going to start adding some dimension to it. So on my layer menu, I am going to go back to my yellow layer. I'm going to add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. And then we're going to grab our darker or our lighter yellow. So the second one on the second row. And I didn't turn Drawing Assist on. That's okay. We're just going to make a quick vertical line here and then fill in the right side so it's a little bit lighter. So I want my vertical line to be kind of right under where this frosting is or where our middle line is and right to the right of it. So I'm going to make a vertical line, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth, touch your finger on the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Click the line button at the top if you need to adjust it. Don't touch the blue dots, but if you want to move it around at all by just touching outside of it and dragging it around. But we want our line to essentially line up on the right side of our vertical line here so that we're only hitting the right side of it. Then I'm going to grab my pen and we need to connect it to fill it in. So I'm going to start up top, go around the right side, back to the bottom to connect the shape to fill in here on the right side to give us that kind of 3D effect. We want to do the same for our frosting. So on our frosting layer, I'm going to add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. This time I'm going to turn Drawing Assist on. So click on that clipping mask, turn on Drawing Assist. And our icing color, the top color is this lightest one. And then we have two slightly darker ones here, third and fourth in line. I'm going to start with the fourth one, which is just slightly darker. And that's going to be for my right side under this first line. So where our vertical line is. So I'm going to use my monoline brush and go right under this kind of corner here. Make sure I'm zoomed out enough to where I can get to the middle. So I'm going to go right there to the middle, go straight down, and then go back, connect it on the side there so we can fill in that whole side. Same thing for the other side. I'm going to just stay on this layer. I'm going to grab my next color, third one on the second row, the darker one, which is going to be for this left side. So same thing, I'll start kind of in the middle maybe and go straight up next to my other one, then follow that line this way, down, back to the beginning to fill it in. So now you should have three sides to it like so. Okay, we are going to now do one more thing. We need the frosting in the middle of our cake. So back to my yellow layer, I'm going to find the clipping mask that I clipped to with my right side on it. Add a layer above that and click on the new layer and set it to a clipping mask as well and click on it and turn on Drawing Assist. So we're going to use those same colors for our bottom icing colors here. So I'm already on the darker one, the third one on the second row, and we're going to make our frosting in the middle here. So our yellow cake is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 up. So you could split it like 2, 2, and 2 if you want. So 2 cake, 2 icing, 2 cake, or whatever you want to do. I want my icing to be a little thinner, so I'm going to go down like 2.5 and start there. And then I'm going to follow this line up, go down like 1, so I'm halfway through the next one. Follow that to the middle, connect vertically on both sides so I can fill that in. Okay, just make it nice and clean there. Same layer, we're just going to do our right side now. So that's going to be the slightly lighter color, fourth one on the second row. And same thing, I'll just kind of connect to that one, make sure I can see the whole right side, go off the right side, from the bottom and the top, connect on that side. And then we don't even need to connect it on the left side because it's on that same layer, so we can just fill that in. But make sure that looks good. We're going to kind of blur the middle pieces, so it's going to get a little bit better, so don't worry too much about how those came together. But this is the start of our cake. This looks really, really good. Okay, more things to do. Let's go ahead and do our blurring now. So on my layer menu, I'm going to do a couple different things. So for my 2 yellow colors, I want to blur them together. So I'm going to snap them together. So my right side yellow color, I'm going to snap to that base layer that's below it. Our frosting that we just made should still be clipped to it. If it's not, turn clipping mask back on. I'm going to start on my bottom one, click on that layer, turn on Alpha Lock, and turn off Drawing Assist. And then we're going to grab our smudge tool. If you click on that to open it up, I have my smudge tool set to the soft brush under the airbrushing category. My opacity 100. I'm going to set my size to like 3 to 5%, somewhere in there, pretty small. And we're going to blur this line in the middle, and I'm going to blur it like vertically. So I'm just going to run over it vertically like so it kind of blends together better. We're going to do the same thing for our icing in the middle. So I just need to click on that layer and turn on Alpha Lock, turn off Drawing Assist. So that's our little middle icing here. Same smudge tool. I'm just going to smudge those together in the middle. Same thing for our top icing layer. So now I need to snap those layers together. So my clipping mask that makes up our left and right side, I'm going to snap to my top layer, click on that and turn on Alpha Lock. Click on it and turn off Drawing Assist. And we are going to blend our vertical line. And then we're also going to blend where it transitions from like flat to vertical. So this line here. So I'm going to blend that there. If you're having a hard time seeing it, go ahead and turn off your grid. So you just go to gear icon, turn off the drawing guide, and then you should be able to see everything a little bit better. But yeah, so we're blurring this in, I always follow the direction of my line. And we're just blurring this one. That's why we have Alpha Lock on. You can't blur anything else. You can't blur it off the edge or off the corner. Yeah, we're just blurring in this direction till we get a kind of a softer transition there. So then your other one should look pretty good too. Lovely. Okay, that's a great start. Let's go ahead and continue on. We're going to make some shadows and texture on our cake now to make it look more cake-like. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a new layer above my yellow layer below my little middle frosting layer. So it should automatically set itself to a clipping mask there. Click the N on it and set it to the layer style here to multiply. Grab our 6th color on the second row. And this time we're going to switch to our soft brush for our brush. So find that soft brush under the airbrushing category, my opacity 100, size at maybe, again, 3 to 5%. And we're going to just create some quick shadows under our icing. So like my top icing here, I'm just going to create like a little shadow underneath it, like so. A little one under this one as well, just to kind of show some more dimension to our cake. Nothing crazy right there. And then a shadow along the bottom as well. So I'm just going to very lightly kind of work up from the bottom to create some shadow down there. Okay, that looks great. Now we're going to add our texture, our cake texture. So on my layer menu, I'll add a layer above the one I'm on. It'll automatically set itself to a clipping mask again below our icing layer there. Click the N and set it to multiply again. Same color. I'm going to grab my Flicks brush this time. So the Flicks brush under the spray paints category. My opacity is at 100 and my size is at like 20% or so. And I'm just going to kind of drag this around, or you can tap if you want a little less texture. You can kind of tap around. Dragging gets kind of a little crazy. So I'm just kind of tapping all over the cake there to create that texture. Then we're going to add one more layer. So layer menu, new layer above this one. This time click on the N and set it to overlay. We're still clipped to that cake shape under our icing. And we still have the same color, same brush. But now with overlay, we're going to tap and it's going to create some lighter flicks as well. So again, I just kind of tapped around with that. And then if you ever feel like this is too bright or your other one is too dark, you can always mess with the opacity. So you can click the O or the M and you can drag the opacity up or down if you need to. So my overlay layer, I feel like it's a little bright. I'm going to drag the opacity down to maybe like 80 to 70%, somewhere in there. So we get some good some good variation, but nothing too crazy. Makes it look nice and spongy. I also want this shadow layer to be the main shadows under our icing, and at the bottom to be above our flicks layers. So I'm actually going to go back to my layer menu, drag this multiply layer above our 2 flicks layers so that that kind of casts a shadow on them as well. Okay, now that our cake's all in place, I'm actually going to set our background color now so that we can see the top edge of our icing a little bit better for our next step. So on my layer menu, I'm going to click on my background color layer at the very bottom to open up that color selector and select the first color on the top row. And we'll add some variation to this too to help make our cake pop a little bit more in the end, but let's just set it there for now. Back to our layer menu, I'm going to add a layer above my top icing layer now to add some more detail to our icing. So add a layer above that one, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Click the N, and this time again set it to overlay. And we're going to grab our last color on the second row, 7th in line. Back to our soft brush under the airbrushing category, size really small this time, like 3% or so. And we're just going to hit this top edge with this highlight. So this is going to create like a little highlight, and it's okay if it goes like over the edge a little bit, but we obviously don't want anything too far down here. That should all be in shadow or, stay the same color. But we want a little something just on this edge before it turns to like our vertical edge there. And I'm going to do this all the way around, so that's why we set our background color. Otherwise it would have been really hard to see this against our white background. So something like that. Doesn't need to be too perfect, just a little bit of light there. Okay, lastly we're going to add our lemon and our leaves on top. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a new layer to the very top of all my layers, and we'll create our lemon. So I'm going to grab my first color on the bottom row. I'm going to grab my monoline brush under the calligraphy tab, and we're going to create like a little oval. So I'm going to make a nice oval shape, hold it down until it turns nice and smooth. Feel free to resize it if you want to, so you can click this edit ellipse button at the top, but again, like maybe more of an oval shape like this. And we can still like rotate it, resize it, move it around in a second. Go ahead and fill that in. And then I'm going to grab my selection tool. So I'm going to grab my selection tool. I'm going to set it to freehand, and we're going to just kind of cut this into a slice. So essentially, depending on your angle, we could have used like rectangle, but if it's not perfectly horizontal, it won't quite get it right. But I just kind of want to cut away like this top half with a straight line. So I'm going to tap to the left of my oval, tap to the right. You'll see this line start forming. This is what our line's going to be. Tap to the right, and then tap around the outside a few times till you're back to the beginning and you have this top part selected. Grab that with your arrow tool, drag it off the screen, and this is what we're left with. So we can still kind of resize this and stuff if you would like to. Feel free to do so. But a good little slice like this is good. You can rotate it, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to kind of maybe place it about here. It can go off the top of your icing too. It can be nice and big like that. That's fine. But it shouldn't go down any further than that. We want to kind of to look like it's kind of like towards the middle of our icing layer here. And then I'm going to put some leaves on the top side. So maybe about there is good. And then we're going to add the details to it. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a layer above this layer. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask. I'm going to grab my next color in line, second one on the bottom row, and our monoline brush still. And I'm going to make like this is going to kind of create like the outer edge. So this is going to be the inner color. So I'm going to start right on one corner, curve like this, hold that down, off the other corner, hold that down until it turns nice and smooth, and then you can click this edit arc button at the top to adjust it. But essentially we're going to fill in everything above this. So this is going to create our little edge there. I'm going to connect that outside the shape there so we can fill that in like so. Okay, layer menu, another new layer, click on it and set it to a clipping mask again. And then we're going to grab our next color line, third one on the bottom row, and we're going to create our little like lemon texture inside. So So I'm going to start with like a little middle kind of triangle piece. So these are like our little triangle pieces inside. So I'm going to start with like kind of right in the middle here, branch out this way, branch out the other way. I'm holding these down so they're nice and straight. Then I'll curve, hold that down as well if you would like to. So that there's a little bit of this lighter edge still showing between my triangle and my darker yellow there. Fill that in. And then I'll kind of do this, a similar thing on each side. So I'll make like some lines, curves to make some triangles. If your arc ever turns into a line, you can maybe click the line button at the top and it might give you the arc option, or you might just need to redraw it a little curvier. Okay. So now it should look something like this. That looks great. Now we're just going to add our last final details. So on my layer menu, I'm going to go ahead and add a new layer, click on it and set it to a clipping mask again. And we're going to go in with the color that we're on right now first, the third one on the bottom row, same monoline brush. And I'm just going to go through the darker edge here and make some quick little like lines and dots to add some texture to our edge here. Like so, nothing too crazy. And then same layer, I'm just going to switch my color to the second one on the bottom row, the lightest one, and make some quick lines through my triangles here and some dots and stuff as well to add some texture there. Okay, and then that is my lemon wedge. So I'm going to go ahead and snap all those layers together when I'm happy with them, all 4 of them. So we just have the one layer there. Grab it with my arrow tool and you can move it around or resize it or anything, but I'll leave it there for now. Then we'll add our leaves. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a layer underneath my lemon layer here. So I'm just adding it above my last clipping mask. If you add it above the lemon and then drag it down, it'll probably try to clip to this icing shape. So if you end up clipped to it, just make sure to unclip it. Let's make our leaves. I'm going to start with the 4th color on the bottom row, and I'm going to go ahead and make some very, very simple leaf shapes here. So I'm going to start with a curved line, start at that same point, make another curved line. They're kind of disappearing underneath my lemon, so I'm just going to make sure that they're connected there at the bottom so that I can fill them in. And then maybe I'll just make one other one going the other way, off the top edge a little bit. Again, make sure they're connected underneath the lemon, fill them in. So something like that is good. They're on the same layer, but if you need to, you can use your selection tool on freehand, and you could like select around one, click your arrow tool, and then you can move it around, resize it, rotate it, anything like that. I feel like they're both a little small, so maybe I'll do that. Okay, now we're going to add some very slight detail to them. So on my layer menu, I'm going to click on this layer with my leaves. I'm going to add a new layer above it. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Grab my darker green, the 5th one on the bottom row, and I'm going to pick like the lower side. So if the light's like up here, it's going to hit the left side of this one and the right side of this one. So I'm going to do the other sides in a darker color. So I'm going to split it right down the middle with a straight line. Hold that down. Then I'm just going to connect to the beginning, fill it in. Same thing on the other one. Connect to the beginning, fill it in, like so. Then we'll add some quick little line details to our leaf. So on my layer menu, another new layer above my leaf layer, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, click the N and set it to multiply. We're going to grab our next color in line, 6th one on the bottom row, same monoline brush at 30%, and we are going to just kind of go through and make some quick lines through the leaves like this. Very simple details. You can hold them down if you wish to. I didn't. I kind of like the way that the 3 look better, so I'm going to go back and redo this one to just have 3, so they're a little further apart, a little more simple looking. The other one looked maybe a little busy. Okay, that looks great there. Lastly, we just need to add a shadow underneath them on top of our icing. So on my layer menu, I'm going to go back to my overlay layer here that's clipped to my top icing layer, add a layer above it, click on it and set it to a clipping mask, so we're also clipped to that top icing again. Just a normal layer this time, but we're going to use a darker color, so we're going to use the last color on the last row, 7th in line, and our soft brush again, so switch back to that under the airbrushing category, size at like 3 to 5%. So I'm going to go around my lemon kind of first, so I'm probably going to stick, closer to like 3%. Go around my lemon first, kind of on this like lower side. Whatever works for you there, kind of lightly towards the edge to kind of fluff out the shadow a little bit. Okay, and then our leaves are maybe like up a little bit, so their shadows might be cast a little further down. So I might start kind of here and cast like a shadow from that leaf. And then here, maybe we'd see like a little bit here, and then maybe it would kind of come off the side here, something like that. So just kind of whatever works to get like a little bit of shadow around them at the top there. It got a little dark on me, so I'm going to go to my layer menu, click the N on the slider, open up my opacity slider here, and maybe just lower the opacity a little bit to like 70%. I think that looks better. So that's my cute little stuff at the top. Okay, I can also go ahead and snap my leaf layers together now, so I'm going to do that. So now too, if you ever want to resize these or move them around, select the lemon, slide right on the leaves, slide right on the shadow that belongs with them. Grab it with your arrow tool and then you can resize it, rotate it, move it around, anything like that. Always trying to stay towards the middle area of the icing at the top. But once that's set, that's it for our whole cake. So now we can move that around if we need to. So again, on our layer menu, if we select one layer, slide right on all the others that make up our cake and everything. So basically everything except the background color layer. We're going to grab that with our arrow tool and then we can resize it, move it around, anything like that. I'm going to move mine down a little bit so that the bottom of my cake's a little closer to the bottom of my picture. I think that looks good there. Okay, now we can finish off our background. So layer menu, I'm going to add a layer to the top, drag it all the way to the bottom, right above our background color layer. I'm going to grab my second color on the top row, the lighter one, and my soft brush under the airbrushing category. We'll increase the size quite a bit to like 30%. And this is going to go around the middle of my cake. So I'm going to start in the center and just kind of work out in like a circular motion to kind of highlight that a little bit. That looks good. And then we'll grab our next color, third one on the top row, slightly darker, and we're just going to hit the edges again, kind of in like a circular motion. So something like that. So we're zoomed out a ways, but just to kind of help highlight our cake some more. If your background starts looking choppy, what you can do is go to your wand icon, click Gaussian blur, and you can blur this layer a little bit. So blur it up to like 30 or 40% or something to kind of let the colors blend in a little bit better if you need to. Don't want it looking too choppy. Okay, lastly is a little shadow underneath our cake. So on my layer menu, I'm going to add a layer above the one I'm on right now, grab our fourth color on the top row, and our soft brush still. I'm going to lower the size to maybe like 10%. And we're just going to go right around the bottom edge a little bit. But again, nothing too crazy with this shadow. So I'm just kind of following the shape of my cake. And then kind of showing that there's like some in the back too. So it kind of wraps around the back side where we can't see it anymore. But again, pretty simple shadow overall. But that just kind of grounds our cake a little bit onto our picture, and that is our final step. So once that's done, that is it for our drawing today. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you liked the way that yours turned out, and I hope that you maybe learned something new. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so that you don't miss any tutorials from me in the future. And if you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it there and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.